La-Artistino. I'm here today with another colouring book review. This time we're going to look at Escape to Wonderland, a colouring book adventure published by Puffin Classics, and this particular one is printed here in Australia. This book is illustrated by Becky Bolton and Louise Chappell, who have worked as partners under the name of Good Wives and Warriors since 2007. They're both graduates from the Glasgow School of Arts, and they usually collaborate on small and large-scale pieces for clients both in fine arts and private companies. They have worked around the world as far as Melbourne and Buenos Aires, and have completed illustrations for magazines and book covers. This is one of two books that they have released, the other being Escape to Christmas. Now this book is a bit smaller than the average colouring book. It's about 18 centimetres by 18 centimetres, which is roughly 7.5 inches by 7.5 inches. And if we open her up inside, you've got a little fold over piece at the front, which opens up to reveal big blue and white print. Now it looks very nice, but I find personally that this fold out piece, because it only comes to here, when you're trying to colour on one of the first couple of pages, you get that little dip there, that line through your colouring. So it's absolutely necessary to put a couple of sheets of paper or a piece of card in between the page you're colouring and this, at least for the first half dozen or so pictures, I think, just to avoid getting the line there. Okay, onto the pictures themselves. As usual, I have coloured in some of these already, including this front piece with all the different mushrooms. I've coloured this in using my polychromos pencils. And if we go on to the first piece, which actually also has the publisher information on it, this is a lovely piece, isn't it, with all the hair. This I've coloured in with a combination of actually polychromos pencils, Derwent Coloursoft pencils, and a few Prismacolor pencils, just so I could try how all the different pencils performed, and they performed reasonable. Now I say reasonable because unfortunately the paper I don't think is really the best quality for colouring in pencils with. It was fairly difficult to get nice deep colour in them, and layering was a bit problematic. The paper tooth, which is like the little bumpy bits on the surface of the paper that catch the pencil colour, it seems to be quite fragile, so that when you go over it for the first time it flattens the tooth and it doesn't really want to take much more. So you could only sort of do some gentle layering, perhaps 2, maybe 3 if you're really gentle, but it's not a book that you're going to do a lot of layering in. So it's probably one if you like to do just flat colours, just go ahead and press them in first. But I mean, it's still quite a lot of fun, and I was able to very softly create some layers to give some depth and, you know, dimension to Alice's face here. The other thing about this book, it's very whimsical, and I do like my whimsical books, so there's lots of potential for splashing out and experimenting with colours. This next page is another one which has been done mainly with Derwent Coloursoft pencils, along with some Prismacolors again and some polychromos pencils. Now I'm not going to take credit for the colour scheme here. This is a colour scheme I actually saw this page coloured in on a web page on the net, and unfortunately I cannot remember who is responsible for it, but I loved it so much I thought I'd want to reproduce it in my own book. So even though it's a lovely colour scheme, it's not mine. Well, some of it is, but mostly the multicoloured tree here, the way that the rabbit's coloured here, that's just been duplicated from somebody else's work. And I did that because I wanted to experiment with different styles of colouring, going outside my comfort zone and doing some colouring in a style that I would not normally do, and I really enjoyed doing this. And if anybody can find me the name of the person responsible for the original design of these colours, I will quite happily put it up in the notes below. Once again, I had difficulty with layering colours, and I think in this book perhaps the the softer pencils like the Colour Soft and the Prismacolors are the ones that will actually perform the best if you want deep, rich colours. Now I'll have to go through a fair way to find some more that I've done, but I'll just show you what other pictures are here. As you can see, Becky and Louise do delightful line art. It's very whimsical, there's lots of detail in it. And the book follows the story of Alice in Wonderland. And it is full of small quotes from the book, you know, which is appropriate to the pictures that they're printed on. And there is a good variety of detailed pictures, quite fun pictures like this crocodile here. And lots of potential to be very creative with the way you colour them. I like this picture. I think this is one of the first pictures I looked at when I picked the book up, and I thought, oh, I've got to buy this book. I just like the way it's been set out like an old tapestry. There's a lot of doodled figures in this book too. Plenty of animals if you like to colour in animals. It's a very loose line, so I actually don't mind the very loose drawings because I think that it sort of opens up more possibilities with being looser and more free with your colouring. This is another picture I really do like. I think I'm going to leave the rabbit white, and because it's a white rabbit I'll give him a pink eye, and then make it a glorious rich green and multicoloured garden around him. Look, he's even got his stopwatch there. One thing you'll notice about this book is it lays down quite flat, and it's not difficult at all to get into the middle seam. A lot of books there's difficulty getting into the middle seam, but this one isn't, and it is sewn too. No, I tell a lie, it's not. It's just perfectly bound. It just looks like it is. But it's very firmly put together. I don't feel like any of these pages are about to come out. Another picture I love. I've seen this one done a few times. It's the caterpillar smoking the hookah. A little kaleidoscope collage there. And that is the picture on the front of the book, on the first page I should say, with a bit more detail in the centre. A lot of variation in line widths if you like the thicker lines, or if you like the teeny little details. Now, I've used a number of different mediums in this book, you'll find, and I find that the pages are not as good with media that tend to bleed through, but we'll get to that. Oh, I love this page too. And this is another problem with the book. A couple of the pages do seem to be stuck together like that. There's a little gluey bit there, and if you try to pull them apart it's quite sticky. I'm frightened of pulling it apart because I may cause the pages to become dislodged, so I don't know if I'm going to do that. There's just a blob of glue right there. Just have to try and press it down and work around it, I think. This is cute. It's full of all little watering can, teapot type shapes with different flowers and mushrooms growing out of them. It's another really nice double spread with watches and clocks. Now we're coming to the part where Alice ventures into the rose garden and finds the little card soldiers. They're busy trying to paint the roses red because they've accidentally planted white ones. And I don't really want to lose their head to the Queen, who's got a bit of a chopping off head fetish. There's a little spiky hedgehog. very unusual spikes around him, and the two flamingos. That's your croquet ball and mallets. I like this spread too, this is lovely. Now, this is another picture that I've completed, and I've actually done these with Inktense pencils activated with water, just as you've seen on my recent videos. I felt that this paper actually performed very well with just a small amount of water in the Inktense. There was minimal bleed through. I think you might just be able to see some speckling dots there of bleed through where the Inktense was activated with quite a bit of water, just on this side here, but it's not too bad and it doesn't worry me. If you look on the other side again, there you go, there's a bit of wrinkling, but I'd say there's actually maybe even less wrinkling than I usually get with the Magical City. Just a pity about that bleed through, but I'm quite happy to live with it. I'll just put some colour over the top on this side and you won't even notice it. And the effect, I think, with the Inktense was lovely. The Inktense dissolves fairly well on this page. It's not perfect, it's not like watercolour paper, but it dissolves quite well, considering. And I think that page has worked out pretty well. And I'll probably do more Inktense pictures in this one. There we go, the mock turtle. That's not really a mock turtle though when you look at it, because the mock turtle has a cow's head. But it's a very nice sea turtle. Not quite sure why he's jumping out of... Oh no, it's a can of mock turtle soup, that's why. There's the old conger eel. That's nice, isn't it? An underwater scene. There is quite a lot of underwater scenes in here. There's the griffin again. I think they particularly liked this theme in the book because there's a lot of them. That's fine with me, because I like underwater scenes. I like working with blues and greens, so that suits me just fine. This is an unusual picture. I really quite like this one. Oh, and then we're heading towards the courtroom scene now. It's just a big pattern made up of lizards. As you can see, it's rather clever because it's all lizards put together in a puzzle. I've seen this done before, but each section is a different lizard with no spaces in between them. That's going to look really good coloured. Well, and there's all the animals in court. And by the looks of it, this is Alice's dress because she's growing big again. Not sure where the goldfish come into it. I'll have to reread the book. And now she's waking up and realising that they were all a pack of cards and all the forest animals that had gathered around her while she was sleeping. This next page that I'll show you, I've done with Tombows and gels. Interesting little pattern. I really didn't care for this page much, so I thought I'll use this to experiment with the Tombows, and if I don't like it, it's no great loss. But I like how it's turned out now that I've done it. Now the Tombows, again, they will bleed through a little bit. You can certainly see show through, and in some spots you can actually see it's coming through. It's not terrible, as I said, you could still work on this, but just be aware if you're going to use Tombows or other water-based markers, that it will show through. So you'll have to apply them quite lightly, and certainly don't go over the same area twice, let it dry. The gel pens did very well. I've just used a gold gel pen here, and I don't think that's bled through at all, so experiment, but I think this would be safe for gel pens. Right, and there's the last page in the book with some of the characters in it. The White Rabbit and the Cheshire Cat. Again, you've got another fold down piece at the back, same print. So as you're approaching the back page, again I recommend that you put a piece of card or some paper on here so that you don't end up with the line running through your work. And that's the end of the book. Just turn it over. The spine is a little bit funny, I think, because of the way it's bound. I have to keep pushing it back into place whenever I open it, but I don't feel the book's in danger of falling apart. That's the important thing to me. And that is the end of my walkthrough for Escape to Wonderland. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you're having fun with whatever colouring adventure you're on at the moment. Until next time, happy colouring!